The local paper would like to interview you before you're to be executed. We can't authorize that, but we said we'd ask. You interested?
What for?
Well, the paper thinks it'll make a good story. Most convicted killers admit and repent, but you've never confessed.
Is that what they're after?
I don't know what they're after, to be honest with you. I just said that I'd ask them. Considering you have just over 3 weeks to live, whatever you have to say or be remembered by could be in that interview. You could do it for your own personal reasons, not theirs.
All right, I'll do it.
Fine, I'll make the arrangements.
To listen to new messages, press 1.
All right, you've got 3 interviews with the killer. He's going to be executed in 3 weeks on Friday, and you'll be interviewing him 2 Fridays before, 1 Friday before, and then finally an hour before he's taken to the chamber. Oh, and make sure you get these recorded for legal purposes. Thanks.
Okay. Testing.
File deleted.
Okay. You did it, didn't you? I'm gonna get your sorry ass.
You're not going to light that, are you?
Health concerns?
The smoke, I just don't like it. I'd appreciate it if you didn't do that in here.
So, why did you do it?
Here we go again.
You were convicted, right? I didn't miss an appeal and you're going to be released soon, or did I?
Look, I agreed to do these interviews, but if all you're going to do is sit there and try to convict me, we might as well end this now.
Do you mind if we record this?
Nah, go ahead. I can stop it for you too if you need me to.
Smart ass. So, you were found in the park at 3 a.m. in the morning with your hand around a young girl's neck and your pants down around your ankles. Why'd you do it? Look, when you're asked a question, you're supposed to answer it. That's the way an interview works.
And I suppose you take, I didn't do it, as a valid answer?
You were convicted, right, and scheduled to die in 2 weeks, and I'm still supposed to believe you're not guilty? You know, the judge thinks so. 12 members of a jury unanimously all voted guilty, and you're still trying to sell this I'm innocent routine? What are you, hoping for a stay of execution?
No. I guess I'm just hoping somebody will believe me.
Wouldn't change anything, would it?
No, it wouldn't.
Why don't you just confess and get it over with?
Oh, then why did you do it? And you can just say this interview was over with if you like that right now.
Okay.
And if you ask me if I did it one more time, you might as well be lighting a cigarette when you ask it.
Okay. So, what were you doing in the park at 3 a.m. in the morning? Stooped over a dead girl with your hand around her neck in a choking motion and your pants unbuttoned.
Man, it sounds kind of bad when you say it like that.
Excuse me?
I said, look, I'm an alcoholic, and that fact came up in court several times. I've been through rehab twice, and the second time, yeah, I was documented for some violence, but the violence was directed at me. The doctor's reports just don't get that detailed. And yes, there's a couple of PIs on my record and one DWI. After that, they took my license away, and since I worked close by, I just didn't bother getting it back. For the most part, I hung out at the park a lot and just kept to myself.
So, you're an alcoholic who's been in rehab twice. You've got 2 PIs and a DWI where they pulled your license. And you've got a medical history of violence?
At least you can listen. My own lawyer never did that.
You're blaming this on your lawyer?
No, I'd not need a lawyer if I didn't live a life that made all this possible.
So you're blaming yourself?
Actually, I'd want to blame the guy that did it, but since I'm about to pay for that crime, blaming him or her really wouldn't matter, would it?
Him or her? Despite the conviction and all the evidence against you? And, by the way, going to your grave in 2 weeks, you still won't admit you did it? Tell me, would you confess if a priest were provided? And by the way, did you ever kill anyone before while drunk and forget it?
Get me out of here. Get me out of here!
So, I'll see you next week. Hello, honey.
I thought you quit.
I did. I'm not smoking, really.
You know what the doctor said, Dad?
I know. I'm working on it.
Working on it? We're past working on it, Dad. Keep smoking, and the doctor told you what would
I
happen.
know. I'm going to take care of it. And let me call you after work. Okay?
Okay. File deleted.
Son of a bitch. Oh, you're gonna hate this.
You gonna be okay?
Yeah, I suppose so.
You know, this guy seems like a real asshole. You know, I can cancel these other interviews if you want.
No, I'll be all right.
All right.
That interview flat sucked. What did you do to piss him off?
Well, he's just not being cooperative, that's all. That's all I could pull from him.
You really expect me to believe that? I didn't send you because you were some kid out of college. I put you on this because of your experience. Maybe that was my mistake. Do I need to reassign someone to the rest of this interview?
Look, I've been around the block before. I'll get it.
Don't let me down again. This is a good piece. Use it. Get emotional.
I'll do it. Did you read?
Yeah, it sucked.
Can you be more specific?
Well, let's see, from top to bottom, side to side, pretty much every which way imaginable, it sucked.
Well, you know, you were convicted. Do you mind? I seem to have deleted it last week. Has the family ever contacted you?
Yeah, the mother came up to me once and she just spit directly in my face. And the father pulled me aside and said if we were anywhere else in the world, he'd kill me where I stood.
What did you do?
I I apologized.
Apologized? But if you didn't do it, and I'm not saying here that you did, but if you didn't do it, why apologize?
To be honest, I couldn't think of anything else to say. I mean, you don't spend a few months in court, 6 months in jail before that, and then 3 years on death row without building up some form of guilt.
You know, back to your being an alcoholic. How drunk were you that night?
Record shows a .18.
That's pretty drunk. Do you think it's possible that you might have been so drunk you couldn't remember?
No, because you see, us professional alcoholics, we can go all the way up to a .2 before we get really crazy and start killing people.
So you're pretty sure you didn't do it?
You know, at this point, I'm not pretty sure of anything anymore.
Well, but you won't confess.
No.
Well, how come rehab wasn't working for you, and how come you kept falling off the wagon?
Well, maybe I'm just a shitty person.
But not a killer.
No, not a killer.
Where were your parents in all of this?
My mom died from lung cancer when I was 7, and, well, my dad, he drank some before that, but after she died, that's when he really showed me what an alcoholic was all about, and that's when the abuse started setting in.
For how long?
Until I turned 16. After that, I just moved in with some friends, and he really didn't care about me anymore.
You know, you've got 1 week to live. Can you tell me what that's like?
It sucks.
Can you elaborate on that?
Probably not to the point that you'd understand. Well, for example, what is your Christmas going to be like? You got big plans for Thanksgiving, family coming over? Because for me, I've got 6 more breakfasts, 6 more lunches, and 7 more dinners to eat before I die. And then 6 more sunrises and 7 more sunsets. I can't see them, but I know they're there, and I know when they're happening. But the biggest part is, you see, I never made a difference in anyone's life. And no one's going to miss me when I'm gone.
You know, not to get gruesome here, but can you try to explain to me how it happened that you were found in the park with your hand around that dead girl's neck and the whole pants thing?
You did your homework. Why don't you tell me what happened?
Well, you were walking home drunk, and you needed to take a leak. So as you went over to take the leak, before you could go, you looked over in the bushes and you saw this girl. You went over to see what was wrong, and as you stooped over and put your hand around her neck, that's when the policeman came up.
Well, you've done your homework. What else do you want me to tell you?
Is that it?
That's pretty much it.
You don't want to go into any more detail?
Yeah, you know, I would tell you more if I could. I really would, honestly, but I just stayed in the park a lot and drank. That was my life. That night I was going home, and yeah, I had a pretty good buzz going on, and I had to stop and use the restroom. Found some bushes, stumbled, fell on top of someone. Turns out to be the dead girl. Then,
What?
Can you please not do that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Please go on.
Thank you. But then, I pulled myself to my knees, and I tried to put my hand over her mouth to see if she was breathing. To be honest, in my condition, I don't think I would have been able to tell. Well, next, I dropped my hand down some to see if I could feel a pulse, but, I'm sure it looked like a chokehold, but I tell you what, man, if there's ever a bad time to be seen by a policeman, it's when you're drunk off your ass at a park at 3 a.m., stumbled over a dead girl with your hand around her neck.
Has anyone ever believed that story?
Not enough.
Has anyone?
A few. Most of the people here on death row.
Why is that?
Well, one of the guys looked at me and he said, a killer knows a killer. And that's when they told me I just don't seem to be a member of their club. Man, it's like, I'm not saying that my story doesn't have holes in it. At this point, that'd really be a pretty stupid thing to say, wouldn't it? I guess I'm just wishing somebody would believe me. And maybe that would be enough.
You can see where people think you're making it up.
Oh, of course I can see that. At this point, I guess it just doesn't matter anymore, does it?
What does?
7 sunsets.
Yo, go ahead and wrap it up. Your time's almost up.
Okay, so next next week at 11 p.m. We'll be here for about an hour, and then...
That'll be it, won't it?
I'm afraid so. Well, thank you for your time.
I appreciate the diversion. 6 more sunrises and 7 more sunsets. I can't see them, but I know they're there, and I know when they're happening. But the biggest part is you see, I never made a difference in anyone's life. You see, I never made a difference in anyone's life. And
Oh, you've got me wondering. Nothing you've said is really a contradiction, even though I am looking for one. Hello, honey.
Hey, Dad. Look, I didn't call to talk about the smoking thing. We'll talk about that later. I just need to make sure you'll be at the party next weekend. You know how much the twins love having you around.
I'll be there, honey. Don't worry. Okay.
See, you've got a better review this time.
yeah, who would have thought?
Yeah. You think anybody actually believes you?
Don't guess it matters anymore, huh?
Yeah, maybe not. Well, hey, the reason I stopped by is you have a visitor.
I had a visitor yesterday.
Oh?
It was her mother.
Really? And what'd she have to say?
Oh, at first, not much. She just stared at me and was about to break down and cry, and I was just looking around for a moist towelette.
Well, did it get bad?
No, she just sat there for a moment looking at me, and I knew I was about to break down myself, and then she just stopped for a minute and looked at me, and well, she told me she believed me.
No shit.
No shit.
And so what did you say?
Well, at first I couldn't even breathe. Just sat there and looked across at her, and she was breaking down in tears.
And?
I said the only thing I could think of to say. I said thank you, and then I broke down into tears also, and we just sat there blithering together. So, why the vast change of attitude in your article?
What do you mean?
Well, in the first article, you sure seemed to say I was guilty. You never came out and said it, but you sure did imply it quite a bit.
Well, I'll admit. I'll admit I came in here wanting to trip you up. But you know, you're not exactly what I thought I'd find back here. So, you've got an hour to go. As tragic as this may seem, what's going on in your mind right now?
I guess I'm glad this is about over.
You mean you're glad you're about to die?
No, that part still sucks. But I guess I'm just glad all this is about over.
Well, I'm not sure I know what you're saying.
For 3 years of my life, people have hated me. You hated me and you never even heard of me. You just read about me, but you hated me.
I never said.
No, it's okay. Do you think there weren't times in the last 3 years where I didn't wake up in the middle of the night hating myself? You spend the first year in a place like this in a lot of hope. You hope some sort of evidence will be found that proves this can't be you and that you didn't do it. But you know no one will believe you anyway. So it all comes down to fate. The same fate that put me in here.
So you think it was fate?
Sure not justice.
Did the system fail you?
I didn't help it much, did I?
What do you mean?
The system wasn't the alcoholic. The system didn't go through rehab as a summer camp. The system didn't take my car away. Well, no, wait. The system did take my car away, but I guess that shows it can work, huh? In the end, I did this to me. Now, I'm not guilty, no, but I'm not exactly innocent in this world either. Every day in here, I hear people bitch, moan, and complain about how everything is somebody else's fault. Shitty lawyer, stupid policeman, some guy that couldn't mug his victim properly so he gets his ass kicked and it's that guy's fault.
Really?
Yeah, that story always cracks me up. Whatever I've done in this world that was hurtful or painful to someone else, I'm about to pay for that in the only way that's left to me. Maybe, just maybe, if I would have taken my own life more seriously, then I wouldn't be here. So maybe I am glad I'm about to die. Give people closure and let them move on with their world. It's not the system's fault, it's my own fault.
Let me get this straight. You're defending a system which, in your own words, lets you down?
By my own words, I failed myself.
So given the opportunity, if you could, what would you do differently?
You think about that a lot in a place like this. I even wondered when you'd asked me that question.
So you got something rehearsed?
No, I tried, but I figured anything that I would have said back then wouldn't mean the same as it does now. I was right.
So, what would you do?
Make a difference. I'd try to find some way to make a positive difference in someone's life. Something that wasn't so hateful or hurtful. But in the end, I kept to myself and I worked pretty hard to destroy my own life. Looks like now that's my only real success. Well, I gotta go. People waiting on me.
Well, I want you to know this is one interview I'll never forget. You know that, don't you?
I'm pretty sure I'm never gonna forget it also.
You got any last words?
Anything you do for yourself in life, you take that with you at a time like this. It's the things you do for other people that you leave behind. I just wish I would have known that sooner.
What would you do?
Make a difference. I try to find some way to make a positive difference in someone's life. Something that wasn't so hateful or hurtful. But in...
Hello, sweeties.
Hi, Grandpa. You're coming to our party this weekend, right? You gotta be here for our birthday.
I will be, and many, many more for the both of you.
Would someone please tell me why these kids love you so much?
Well, they're the smart ones.
You got a doctor's appointment tomorrow, right, Dad?
Yeah, sure do.
And it's going to be a good visit, right, Dad?
It will be. At lunch, exactly.
Okay, Dad.
Well, we're going to get there, honey. And, hey, let me finish this story and I'll call you back later.
Bye. We'll see you this weekend.
Bye-bye.
Make a difference. I try to find some way to make a positive difference in someone's life. Something that wasn't so hateful or hurtful.
You did. You did. We all have lessons we learn in life, but sometimes we wait too long and time runs out. I've come to find that only in our final moments do we see ourselves honestly. The good, the bad, and everything we wish we could change. If the final moments of any man's life can help us understand our day-to-day moments, it's that we never know how many we have in front of us. Then, a choices we make determine how we spend the time we do have and what we'll be remembered for. When you put it all together, these choices dictate the lives we lead. But sometimes it's also how closely we listen. In the end, it's what we do for others that we leave behind.